Hey, welcome back from break. I hope you guys had a great time. I'm really excited because we're going to start diagramming sentences. It's like combining math and language and art all at once. So it's a really great way to see how sentences are structured. Just a cartoon to start you off in. The dog runs fast. If you don't mind me asking, how much does a sentence diagrammer pull down a year? Well, sadly, a sentence diagrammer pulls down nothing a year, but hopefully it will help you structure your sentences better and think about proper grammar so that when you do apply for a job, you will not make silly grammatical errors and not get the job. That's what we're hoping for. We're going to start with the basics. So you're going to do a 4-flap window foldable. You need to label each flap the way you see it in the picture. We've got the basics, compound subjects and predicates, putting them together, and imperative and interrogative. It almost sounds like Jeopardy, doesn't it? And the notes that we're taking on the inside are just the examples. That's all I expect you to write today because the basics are pretty easy. You guys will get it fairly quickly. All right, so you always start with a baseline, and you can see you've got your baseline right here, which is a horizontal line under the subject and predicate. You always just start with that. The subject is written on the left side, the predicate is written on the right side, and a vertical line that goes all the way through the line divides in two. You don't ever use punctuation when you are diagramming a sentence, but you must put every word in the sentence on the diagram, and capitalization is really important. Now, you didn't have to write anything of that down, but now open your flap for basics, and here are your examples. These are obviously very simple sentences. Jonathan ate, subject, predicate. Fish swim, subject, predicate. Kirby flies, we hope, subject, predicate. I could have put Kirby poops, I guess, but fly sounds better. And Estelle swims, subject, predicate. And someday she'll swim as fast as her sister, right, Estelle? All right, you can close the basics flap after you have those down. Now let's talk about compound subjects and compound predicates. Compound subjects are written on the left side of the baseline, just like subjects are, and you just make two baselines, and then you connect them with this cute little triangle, cute little dotted line for your conjunction, and your line there and your verb. So, some examples of what compound subjects would look like when you diagram them. Graham and McGuire eat. Graham and McGuire are a compound subject. Eat is the verb. Ava and Charlotte run. Ava and Charlotte are our compound subjects. There's our coordinating conjunction, run. Please copy these two examples down. Now you can also have compound predicates. Same thing, only, oh, and look at, I've made a mistake because I should have a line going down between my subject and my verbs. I apologize for that. The conjunction that connects the two verbs is written on the dotted line, same thing, except for it's on the verb side. So, Justin shot and scored. Justin, there's my line, shot and scored. And I asked my grammar guru, Miss Montalvo, and I can write the and on either side of the dotted line. It does not matter. So there you go. Notice that Justin is capitalized and Justin is capitalized. Shayna dances and sings. Shayna's here. Notice I forgot my line again. I must have done this way too quickly. So please make sure that you don't forget your line, that you put it down in between the subject and the predicates. And the compound predicate is dances and sings, which she does quite well from what I've heard. All right, you can close that flap, brain break. Shouldn't the something be before that except for after that? And I think this is how grammar got started. People were bored and they had to come up with things to do. So they did. Aren't you all excited that you're suffering for that? All right, compound subjects and predicates. This should be your bottom left-hand flap. And you can have sentences with compound subjects and compound predicates. And you just do it the same way. Subject, subject, predicate, predicate. You put your coordinating conjunction there and your coordinating conjunction there. An example, Audrey and Leah danced and rested. My compound subject is Audrey and Leah. My compound predicate is danced and rested. Layla and Mary Grace dribbled and shot. My compound subject is Layla and Mary Grace. And my compound predicate is dribbled and shot. And I should have made it a triple compound and said and scored. Dribbled, comma, shot, comma, and scored. But, you know, I know they did. Oh, make sure that those are written down as your example. And then you can close that flap and you're almost done. Is this not easy homework tonight or what? All right, so when the subject is implied. So now we're going to be moving on to your flap that says imperative and interrogative. And you know an imperative sentence is a command and the subject is always implied and the subject is always you. If you don't know that by now, you need to. So you always put the understood subject there and the verb there. Now notice I capitalize, okay, so Here's your whole sentence. Sit. I think I say that too in class sometimes. In any case, you is implied, you sit. So you is over here with parentheses around it. And then sit is here. Now notice that sit is capitalized. If it's capitalized in the sentence, it needs to be capitalized in the diagram. And there it is. Pretty easy, huh? We'll get into longer imperative sentences later when you know how to do other things. Now, along with imperative sentences, you also have interrogative statements. And so when you have an interrogative statement, you know that you put the subject first, even though it's not the first word in the sentence. We do this when we're finding the hidden subject, and you do that when you're diagramming a sentence. So you have to capitalize the verb since it's the first word in the sentence, so this should actually be a small s. Sorry about that. Subject/verb. This is what it looks like. Are you going? Notice that I have the you because it's the subject. It is not capitalized in my subject area. It's not in parentheses because it is actually in the sentence. I've got my line, and then I have are going. Are is capitalized. That way when I look at this diagram, I understand that it's an imperative because the are would come first. Are you going? Get it? Pretty easy. Put this example down, please. All right, so this is what the inside of your foldable should look like now. All right, I guess I told you to write 2 examples here, and I only have 1. Sorry about that. Each flap, and you might have used some different examples, but each flap should have correct examples in it. You'll be using this for your homework tomorrow. And a final thought of today's flip video. Here is a diagrammed sentence. I don't think you're quite ready for this yet. I don't even know if I'm ready for this yet, but can you figure out what the sentence says? If you can, I'll be quite impressed. We'll talk about it in class tomorrow. Have a great night.